Everything changes when someone believes you and believes in you, right? And so here's where those who do know this, we understand why some people will feel that they're not cared for, but that those who are self-regulating will know everyone's cared for, but that's because we can take care of our own emotional needs and our mental needs. And that's because our basic needs involving our window of tolerance is also one that we take care of. And so as a self-led 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, I'm here to share personal growth, spiritual growth stories, and practices on PayHip for those of you who do bring forth yours, not mine, your intelligent, sentient beingness. And so you do know how it feels to feel felt and how it feels for another to feel felt and not alone. And here's where, if you don't have any attachment trauma education, I do, but I'm not going to be the scientist to prove it to you because I'm the woo-woo pseudoscience lady. I also will fuck it up, forget it, and confuse it. But more than anything today is about stories. And I usually do stories, but sometimes, and I think I'm going to try to do this more often, I'm going to just organize it so you can understand services, products, mentorship if you want, practices if you want, PayHip, Substack, check it out, ask questions there if you have questions while you're hearing an episode. Those who are hearing me, you're not seeing me. All you need is love and healthy fear. All you need is love and healthy fear, and we definitely protect the future. But it's not in any danger, so Chicken Little doesn't need to be scared. The sky ain't falling. Pleiadian activation. So being a mystic is fun, and here's where, on days like these, the truth always comes forth. We will know those who have, I've got the power, the willpower, because they're intelligent, sentient beings, and those who instead are faking it. But it's okay because we're all learning. Now, the difference is those who think that we all need to learn the same don't understand that we don't all learn the same. I know how to fish. My nervous system is mine. That's called nervous system sovereignty. Others don't know how to fish. When I spot people who are feeding each other fish, I say, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't actually have what you want. And that's because I don't play pretend. Okay, so this person knows of no monster out there as a mystic. As someone who has been raised with lovely God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, I am here to share with you. I know already those who reject me because I've been told, but that's okay. God knows it too. And I want to let you in on, I'm not afraid of God, because when you're in communion with all that is, you know that it's pure love, and that means it's not here to experience suffering. No. But as long as those who are not believing that I exist as that intelligent, sentient human being, I mean, hey, I believe in humanity because I'm a human first. And then, as I said, the soul doesn't get touched. You can't fuck with the soul. And life force, you better bet your bottom ain't no life force that's going to be sucked out of any human being's life, because that's where the ventral pivoting, amazing. And neuroscientists, mwah, when they talk to you about the flow state, you're like, wow. And when you meet someone who has the same life force, we're going to get into the story. Now, let me tell you, the story is a recent one. It's not one you've heard before. So regulars, keep your ears perked. So I'm looking in the eyes of those of you. No, I'm going to look down because I need my notes. Where are my notes? So number one, please remember that the less connected you are to what is objectively true, the less likely you are to make decisions that will benefit your life of your family, and civilization itself. One day we will have to go and ask people who say they love their children if we can take the children they say they love off the planet so they don't die an excruciating, horrible, physically speaking, death. As for the flat earthers and the groups who think it's virtual reality, and the ones who talk to us about demons and us needing to be pushed to the edge of criticality to make some choices, sure, keep talking. That is where my brain, luckily for all of you, does this objective processing, not the social gossiping. So when someone wants to use that which are jumping to conclusions, it's because their brain is still hyper aware of social alliances and reproductive behavior in a way that involves the yeah, I know, survival mode. So unemotionally available human beings, those who have activated states that they're not taking ownership of, emotionally immature people, they don't believe we're possible. Do you understand what I'm saying? those human beings think that intelligent, sentient human beings, us having higher human consciousness, potential experience, let me sit with this, are not possible. The only ones who are going to stick around here are the same life force that I got to encounter. And when I get to encounter them, I'm like, high five. And it ain't nothing to do with a monster, because there ain't no monster, FYI. So sit down and relax. Again, there's no fallen angel. The only ones who play a bullshit story are the same ones who, when I lock in with their eyes, I'm like, oh. Listen, so as you continue speaking words that I completely don't comprehend, and I am allowing myself to be as kind as can be, I'm going to go hang out over there, but we'll see each other later, yeah? Cool. Okay, so dysregulation is actually not something funny, but I want to share with you the somatic experiential approach in case you don't know the words. And again, remember, I fuck it up, I forget it, but I do know how to explain it. So an embodied brain that is integrated is a healthy mind, because you have a healthy brain, because everyone can have that, and it's called you self-regulate autonomously. It's independently of you, so I don't need you to validate me, which is why I don't buy crap. I buy what works because I know how to work with the right professionals. I know what a company that is great does, and I know what a shitty company does. And in all equations, I, as an empowered entrepreneur, online marketer, content creator, podcast host, and mentor, know that shit is sold by those who validate each other. I have something to say to you all. I don't follow mediocre people. I spot them, which is why they're not dangerous. And I've made way too much fun of them to spend any more time on it. So we exist. And when someone looks at me and says, you're not possible, and then they begin to say, you can't be God, Jesus, Buddha, it's like, yes, excuse me. I am none of those. My name is Maria. I have an embodied brain. I could explain it to you. I've done it before, but I really don't want to, because I'm kind of tired of having to explain why I don't suffer life and to be looked at like I'm weird or lying. I don't need you to believe in me or validate me. Actually, it's fun to know the explanation to all of the lovely three twin flames, a bunch of soulmates, my entire oversoul, and infinity and beyond. And that's what I love about being a mystic. And when someone looks me in the eyes and says, I'm so sorry, Maria, you're rejected by the institution. God doesn't need signs. I remember when I saw demonic possession. So you telling me about Patrick McNamara, a neuroscientist, and how demons aren't in anyone. He didn't add all that, but basically, they're there. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't asking about that. I know what you saw. I'm a mystic. I've seen a lot of things. In fact, I don't fall for hallucination. Where are you? The explanation that I wanted to let you in on how my brain works, humanly speaking. So I'm a person who prioritizes semantic meaning, although I'll fuck it up. So dictionaries don't work for me all the time. But I'll choose the semantic meaning over the pragmatic, which means this implied social subtext. So basically, I'm like a 3-year-old, but I'm a grown woman. So sometimes I didn't understand that. And if someone gets irritated, that doesn't work to scare me, make me feel stupid, small, or any of that. It's, I don't have to understand it. I see that I'm getting annoying. I think I will leave now. I have a very literal cognitive style. My brain processes the exact words without the dictionary, because sometimes I use words wrong. And so when you say something, I might misunderstand it. And when I say something, you might misunderstand it. And that is why, can we still be friends? It's like I don't see a monster in front of me. I just see a human with 2 eyes, head, nose, and shoulders, and 2 eyes. And there's songs for children that I'm thinking about. So then we have low context communication style and high context. High context rely heavily on reading between the lines, body language, hierarchy, hints, and shared unspoken assumptions. I don't do any of that. Low context. I value directness, precision, explicit facts. I also value relational integrity. Excuse me. Don't you enjoy somatic empaths? Okay, so when people are like us, intelligent, sentient, they're somatic resource, they do mindset practices, they journal not to vomit, they ventral pivot all the time, so we differentiate, and then we link, and we're like, oh look, we picked up on a bunch of oversoul, yeah, hoo-hoo. So I'm a naturally low context communicator. I thrive on direct, clear communication, but I don't always know words from dictionaries, and I do not automatically scan for background gossip or hidden hints, because I prefer to stick to the facts. I definitely don't really care to read between the lines. And here's where actually it says that this category that falls within BAPD, potentially broader autism phenotype. I haven't ever heard that one. It's the umbrella term neurodivergent. So the science BAP refers to individuals who naturally share certain personality and cognitive traits with the autistic spectrum, such as high objectivity, intense focus, literal thinking, and skipping social gossip, but do not have a disorder because they lack the impairments. I think they might look at that. But I understand distress or rigid repetitive behaviors, the window of tolerance, different sensorial things, and that's something I'm less experienced at talking about. But it is a simply distinct, healthy variation of human wiring. Well, again, let's not use the we're wired. Every time people are objectifying themselves, I like to let you know, and I'm sure you know, we're not wired. Our nervous system has 3 modalities, and I got lucky, so mine is socially engaged. And when I'm in the survival defense mode, I understand because I'm reminded of what it is to be my own 3-year-old. And I say, okay, let's calm down. Objective or non-inference observation. So you can understand, and that's even for my regulars. I didn't know how to explain this, and I looked into it on purpose. So in psychology, the automatic habit of layering a romantic or dramatic narrative onto couple leaving a room is called making a social inference. I don't do that. Your brain, mine, naturally practices non-inference observation. And so what happens is I have a high threshold for evidence. And I refuse to hallucinate intentions or secret motives without clear proof, which is why lower frequency in my sphere and any astral travel and any, it's like, yeah, you're not a monster. You're definitely a person I know and a bunch of people I know. And so I actually don't need to cut cords or be afraid, but also my embodied brain doesn't get overwhelmed because I'm a good ventral pivoter, because I have autonomous self-regulation, because I have integration. Okay, so when you own your default mode network, and it's because of integration, it's down-regulated. And you become this pure conduit, which is why pure channelers, it's not because you're pure, your ego's here, it doesn't die. Your self and your soul, like all of this is here, you just have the capacity to stay grounded in aliveness. Your life force is here, your soul is here, you understand what's coming forth. So it's like watching TV. Okay, so I'm giving you the 5D mystic experience, and the Enlightenment Soul Age group and the mystics and spiritual ones who are here, they've been also experiencing downloads and channels, and they get all the information on what it is to be a human. They're aware there's no monster, and they're aware of our 3D, 4D brothers and sisters having a different journey, and we're going to get to that later. But in the meantime, as I was saying, my common way of seeing is analytical minds see it this way. Scientists, engineers, and deep logical thinkers. I'm going to add one. Functional inner child adults. I don't need to infer what you're doing with your sex life or not, and that's because taboo, controversy, telling our species to be monoamory or polyamory isn't going to make it right or wrong. Love is love because it's easy. Being yourself is easy. If it's hard, then that's why mindful therapists are giving everybody a shot at getting themselves online. I'm here for the ones who want to do personal growth and spiritual growth. I've always been here to inspire human potential. I believe you. Now, when I'm with the ones who want validation, I don't do, let me validate your subjective reality as objective. No. There is no evil. There is no monster inside of anyone. Mystic, spiritual, or mindful, I'll tell them that. And when they continue to discuss with me, I'll say, here, have the floor. I'm going to leave it alone because I just told you how I understand what's going on, but you don't believe me, so it's okay. I don't need you to validate my own subjective, not only capacity to discern what I'm seeing and how I can define what is going on our planet. You see what I'm saying? So you don't feel shut down in a way of, they silenced me. No one and I'm doing it on purpose because I don't ever feel this. No one knows my needs. No one wants. The one time I even spoke these words, I was a teenager, and it was something like that. And I said, okay, we don't need to sound like all of our teenage friends. Everybody loves you. They just have a different way of thinking and feeling about life. That's it. Okay, so I believe you. You, intelligent, sentient being who is still here. I'm intelligent and sentient. And the ones who don't like us to use words like this, enlightenment, soul age group, the flow state, how the life force within everyone continues to breathe, let me tell you the story. So those who don't like that humans are humans and that our mystic spiritual experiences don't have to be proven, science does the proving. Science proves every single human being has life force, a higher self. They'll call it the higher self. Science wins because it shows. Finally, those who are incapable of believing without seeing, thank you, Jesus. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. I didn't need to see inside of you to know you have a soul and you're a life. I knew it already from here because as a kid, I promised Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, but also I'm looking in the eyes of people. Those who reject, those who humiliate, those who betray, those who commit injustices, and those who reject, betray, humiliate, injustice, and abandon, Okay, so when you look in the eyes of those who actually, their stories you won't ever hear. And the fact is, I know exactly what it means to be looked at in the eye by a human being and or more who are completely in need of a therapist to get themselves into being a human versus be the dysregulated, unfortunate human being who lacks the capacity to notice their maladaptive patterns of behavior, the way they're speaking to, whether it's a child, because it'll be a child, it'll be a teenager, it'll be a grown-up, and this person, whenever those ages have been, it's always been someone didn't teach them manners. I'm 4'9", so basically that's all. I'm just saying, like, this is where someone didn't teach them how to have manners, and I'm not going to behave the way they're behaving. That would be bad and that would be rude, and I'm not dysregulated. See? So here's how easy it is. And when someone doesn't believe that it's possible for a mind to be trained by the owner of the brain, it's because they don't know how their self works. So they don't have a steady self, which means they don't know their intensity and sensitivity. So they don't know how to wield their emotional plane. They don't know how to wield their mouth in the left. And that's why someone has had a monster in their head and they get out of it and they're succeeding in life and they're a member of their community in a good way, but they come from a path. Okay, so are you ready for story yet? Okay, so 1, check out PayHip if you are looking for that which is mindset practices, journal prompts. If you do know of people who are like us, intelligent, sentient beings, which are all of those who have restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life in the forefront, people heal when they experience somatic empathy, when they feel understood just as they are and they feel felt. That is what heals. You're not here to tell people how to conduct life. The point, it's a one-to-one, it's a group, whatever it will be, we believe in you, we will welcome you, but no, we will not validate maladaptive patterns of behavior. We do personal growth, spiritual growth. Okay, you got triggered. We all can get triggered. I can get triggered too. I can begin to get in my sympathetic. Today it happened. If I have a person who doesn't know how to handle me, I'll learn how to handle me on my own. Won't feel guilty, won't feel shamed. I'll know I got dysregulated and I'll do it better next time. Because I can, not because I have to. I won't allow myself to justify getting into someone's face because that level of dysregulation does nothing except for 1, distress, 2, you do shit. You don't control anything, and people who think you get results by fighting, sure you do. You get results because the masses are made of people, and when humanity has had enough, it's not because we had to deal with distress. The reality is when someone brings to me the story, I think Pinocchio, wow, he was blind 3 times. The fairy godmother came in 3 times. I'm not looking at Pinocchio and thinking, oh my gosh, I pity a fool. That's called a choice point. I'm a mystic, remember? I've seen our world's choice points, the Earth's. I know where we're at with our timeline. I know all of it. I just don't, that's not where I channel and download because I don't need to. As everything's going to move as it always has. That's the part of why the episode, no one is their monster. And all humans are a soul that does not get touched and a life force that does not get broken. It may be hidden, yes, and it will be this: let me out, let me out, let me out, I want out, I want out, I want out. And I will be able to perceive that because I know, blessed are those who believe without seeing. In front of me I will have a human, and I know with science what a human is. And their embodied brain isn't scary. Actively, there's only so many, no, there's like an amount of maladaptive patterns that you'll get to familiarize yourself with. As for the spectrums and all those lovely little scales that they give us, yes, I know all about psychopathy, and I know about a lovely lady who explained it very well, so I'm not scared of that. As for TV shows that do a crap job at continuing to do what they do best, they're there for the ones who are of other soul age groups, who look at me like I'm weird, and I won't do anything to look at them weird, because I won't impose any kind of unreasonable expectations upon anyone who looks at someone and thinks I'm faking it. I ain't faking it, but there's no point in me sharing that, because you can't make your own embodied brain come to life in their body. See what I'm saying? And you also can't make them understand what just came out of their mouth. I can't be happy all the time. Maybe you don't understand how eustress works, but I'm sorry, that word is probably one they'll say, that's a bullshit word. No, it exists. You just don't embody eustress yet because you haven't even gotten over the distress part. Okay, so when someone wants to continue with their survival mode and their defense, it's called the nervous system that isn't wired. It's what it learned. It's what it's familiar with. And so if someone's familiar with their defense mode and continues to use that which is a fight response, that's why the groupies, they feed each other fish. And while they say, we're not here to be love, we're here to be lightning, I think nothing of that which weakens their window of tolerance, and then they, like my facade friend, stagnate. So you don't tell an emotionally immature person that they have to mature, because it's none of your business. Furthermore, they have an ego like you do. So their 3-year-old will continue, no, their 16-year-old will continue to distort, project, feel that nobody cares about my needs, and if I'm going to get my needs met, then I need my terrible twos, because that's the only way they know how to say yes and no. It is using their sympathetic, which is not something I look up to or look down to. I look straight at and say, wow. So listen, I think we're on different agendas right now and different pages. So I'm going to leave you to do whatever you do best. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go hang out with the intelligent, sentient human beings who know we're all angels and who do understand why we don't need external forces to support us towards the truth, but you better bet Pleiadians, truth, and our solar plexus, yes, all the upgrades, they happen because you are learning to be yourself, and that's really fun, isn't it? Haha, 3-year-olds. So those who are not connected to the truth continue to do what they do best. We protect the future because we come together with mental clarity, emotional mastery, and there are no shadows. So when someone has faced their shadows, now, they haven't done all the work, okay, so they still have some stuff, but they see above the fray. They see, they forgive, they understand where they went wrong. They also understand what resonates with them and what they can do to continue harnessing that energy whenever it comes up, those moments of reactivity, better, okay? So they connect with those people. And that's why we connect with each other. And so when you meet those who are somatic empaths, I believe you because I don't judge you. I understand you're a soul and you're a life like I am. And you're a human being. And like a human being, you can be dysregulated. So can I. We all can dysregulate. But what I also know is we all know how to, today, use the word self-regulation. So we are not needing, in a desperate way, to use that which is our embodied brain. Those who instead are still desperate, they still need to learn grounding. They have restorative embodiment resilience programs out there. I've seen them. So here we know how to transmute that which is pain, because you actively are not actually thinking of pain as the reason why you expand, why you grow. Okay? That's where some people will have gone through pain, and then they get out of the pain and the suffering, and there's a basic. Our emotions last like 60 seconds. Those who don't believe this is possible ruminate. Let them believe what they will believe. Those who understand how it works, you're not ruminating. That's why the personal growth mindset practices on PayHip will help you, because you're actually doing the work. Those who pretend to do the work feed each other fish, they validate their charges, they talk about monsters in the sky, and they continue to talk about good and evil, wanting a special place in the seats, they think they're doing someone some special favors. While nobody does anyone special favors if they're giving us the low bar, because the whole point is mediocre people make everyone else think that that is what humans are capable of. Humans are capable of this. And it's called healthy perfectionist, and it's called flow state, and it's called something that I embody, and that those who don't believe it, again, they don't believe in me. I don't need you to validate me. You can't be in my body. I know how to explain it humanly speaking. Some spiritual ones don't know how to explain it humanly speaking, but they'll tell you all about how you can age with years, but your aliveness doesn't die. And in fact, when you meet the eyes of a person who has the life force within them, who is not the monster that they know was a part of their journey for reasons that they will acknowledge were the bad and wrong choices. Now, as I said, it's not a full-on deal. I'm a healthy perfectionist. I mentioned that. Okay, so life force can't be broken. Soul cannot be tainted. Embodied brains of people who heal themselves with all the 9 domains of integration that lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel with his IPNB framework spells out is something that requires a person to take seriously attachment trauma, not as let me learn about it, but as do I embody an integrated brain or not? Okay, so when someone doesn't know how to look themselves in the mirror objectively and notice this, that's a person who is doing the best they can with what they got. The ones who do know all of it, they're healing like a champ. There's Dr. Frank Anderson, Bessel van der Kolk, Stephen Porges, there's a Daniel Siegel, Daniel Fox, there's a bunch of people who are offering anything they can to support those who are understanding I'm not going to stay dysregulated. The ones who are still, again, in other groups wanting to have a specific, I'm going to even leave that alone. So, what heals in the moment between somatic empaths is feeling felt by another human being. When someone else can feel you, it'll be, I'm not alone. That piece gets feeling felt. And as Dr. Frank Anderson points out in one of his videos, most trauma is a violation of a relationship, and he tells you how it's this energy and how healing has to happen in relationship. And so if you can be with it, witness it, carry it, and then through being met by another who believes you, because I'm not saying you have to be Maria. No, you're not Maria. You're you. I don't know your window tolerance. I don't even know what your self is speaking about. I don't know anything about what's embodied in you, but I will listen to you, and I will not use social inference, and I will not use gossip, and I will not use any petty shit, because that's how I feel about all this petty crap. And women, what are you going to think after they fuck you? Nothing, you moronic human being who has a bunch of more people laughing with you. You ain't no empowered woman, and you're not empowering other women, nor is men who think they're empowering men by doing, this is a side note, those of you who are new don't know it. There's 2 1-minute shorts, one of a man and one of a woman. I've made fun of them for many times. Not going to make fun of them now. And what I actually am looking at is a bunch of people who are feeding each other fish, and sooner or later that fish is going to run out, and what they're really doing is nothing of good except for giving each other home like flat earthers. And so as they play small and seem like they're freaking amazing, I think I won't want to be with clowns. I barely can, no, I'll make fun of them from afar because I'm like, you're a clown. I mean, my teenage friends were more mature than you at this point, and now you're a grown-up. I don't know how to inform people of, yeah, I'm starting to see it's like Gargamel, okay, stop playing with the Smurfs, just go somewhere else. Anyways, okay, so when a person is with a person who sees them, this somatic empath thing, which is why we're all healers, but not really, okay? So, again, I'm going to organize. When you know who you are with all of that which is yourself, that's when integration is happening. Because out of the 9 domains, the memory one is also where implicit memory has no words, it's feelings. Explicit memory has images. And so the part of you being human, you're human first. Spiritual bypassing community forgot to get all their ducks in a row. They're not self-regulating autonomously. They're not consistently ventral pivoting. They don't understand to not play God and disengage from the monster stories at this point in our lovely era, 2026, because like Hippocrates pointed out to his colleagues, When you find out what epilepsy is, you will stop calling it the wrath of the gods. Patrick McNamara has proved there's no monsters or demons. People who are still using the word evil and monsters, and when they're talking about any of like psychopathy, I saw a couple of people in a group use the word. Like, what the fuck? You're a neuroscientist. Why are you using this word? Stop. You're not helping us. Use a different word. Disengage from using it, because we need people to stop using the words like that, because there's a bunch of them. Knock, knock, who's there? Hey, can we take your children off the planet? The sun's about to do its thing. You know what I mean? Like, I know you think technology is awful, but any chance, the ones you say you love, as a child, I'm like, you don't love those children. You want them to believe what you want them to believe. That's not right or wrong. That's you being delusional. And at this point, it's, yeah, you know what? If anyone wants to say they're going to prove spirituality, they can keep talking. The scientists prove things. Spirituality, we have our stories, we have our wisdom, we have this oneness. So the ones who are competing, as if spirit and science have to, they're the people who don't know how to use two sides, and they don't know how to use their prefrontal, and then they don't know how to be grounded in reality. And all my cherishable beliefs, every single bit of anything spiritual, I know I'm embodying the experience. I am very, very, very much at home when I have people who understand this and respect the spiritual experience. I respect it. I will minimize it, not to minimize it. I'm trying to make a point of the human elements are very much more important for people to grasp. And there's a bunch of people who haven't grasped it. And I see them talking about this stuff. And you can tell they don't own themselves yet, because there's one thing that doesn't come through their eyes. The capacity to look out there on our planet and say, yes, we see suffering. And we see a lot of shit going down. In fact, actually, there's this thing, a bunch of people on Michael Stone, forensic chronologist scale, yeah, they fit the charming and the grandiose. Grandiose people actively were treated like little pieces of shit. So they are lacking the sensitivity chip, because they're also lacking humility. They're lacking also to use their brain to side. So we have low emotional intelligence as we speak. Pathology is on a wheelhouse in a number of places where the pedestal is, because we have the following to the, you know, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. Yeah, so I'm quite clear on why our entire globe, wherever it may be. And so I don't need a conspiracy. I don't even need a monster. I'll look out there and be like, okay, there's the emotionally immature ones right there. And there's their followers. And they, in fact, are all pointing fingers. We're wrong because their beliefs are truer. Belief isn't proof. It's your subjective belief. I actually know of science. Here's the objective data points of science without all the inference of social and gossip shit that you add to it. The crap is really unnecessary. I don't appreciate you adding all this crap to the basics. I need air, water, and food. So does every other human being on the face of this planet. If you were smart enough, you would know this by now. Stability, maturity, adaptability, rationale, and teachability. So you want to use the word smart, and then you don't know our basic needs? Yeah, I'm sorry. That doesn't work here. I'm really not joking. Okay, so this is a person who's epistemically curious and disciplined, and I continue to learn. And when I spot epistemically lazy people, I usually spot who their leader is. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm a dumb idiot, and you're doing amazing. No, I don't do any of this, because otherwise they'd completely waste my time. So what I do is continue with our story. Okay, can you do and be with yourself? So when someone knows of all of their story, humanly speaking, and then they take it to continue growing, they will do the integration. But there's a level of bilateral vertical overall integration that you're gonna have to have. And Dr. Daniel Siegel, Frank Anderson, I think he's also Dr. Bezel Vanderkook, all of Pat Ogden, those who are in the field know how to explain it. So I know how to see it. When somebody is on that healed capacity, they don't have a charge. They're not coming at me with there's monsters and evils and suffering and humanity sucks. So their faith in humanity is completely present. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Okay, so I have faith in humanity already, which is why the spiritual mystic stuff is a bonus. And that's my belief. And that's my embodied experience. So if someone wants to enter an in-depth relationship with me, it will not by them pretending. So if someone believes my experiences to be fake, they don't have to speak it. I will know it, because it won't be, I see you. they're not going to be seeing me. Their left is talking over me. And I have a teenager in the room. It's called an adaptive child part, which is why I don't have a person of grace, a person who is a pure vessel in front of me, a restored, embodied, emotion, intelligent, sentient being. No, I have a person who's talking over me. There's your teenager, there's your ego, I forgot to remind myself that I'm a human and our subjective experiences are different, and I don't have to understand or experience or believe. I'm getting to know you. Emotionally mature people want to get to know each other, and that's why two people can be on different frequencies, meaning in different realms, meaning differently. Some will still be in their survival with maladaptive kinds of behavior. They might, the middle ground, the part of where I'm trying to get you to understand, the ones who are doing better in the absence of having taken on, whether it be therapy or any of the knowledge, but they're members of society. And they're members who get judged. But even in the absence of that, to close our lovely story, because as the world goes, the world always recalibrates to its best, next best thing. Now, I believe wholeheartedly and without a shadow of a doubt, as a future human, that we achieve the stability, and it is that heaven on earth, that peace on earth. It does not mean that our earth will look in a very specific way and someone's bringing to you a picture of what they think it'll look like. That's not what I'm saying. I know, because science has figured it out, how to support every human being on their journey, which, by the way, your body leads itself to its wholeness. So anyone who's somatically and attachment trauma informed knows this, which is why the body will lead you towards your healing. However, as Gabor Mate has pointed out, and I forget in which one of the videos I saw it, and because it was mentioned to me by someone who was taking classes with me, that the gut will be off. And that is accurate. A gut is off because when epistemic trust is broken, when dysregulation is what you know, neutrality is fake, you don't believe it to be true, goodness and kindness are fake, I'm hiding a sword behind my back, and the nervous system is used to the same pattern. And so it's only if a person disengages from that on, off. And so, long story short, people are doing it. They're finally some also talking about how easy it is for them to now be in a space of courage, strength, and curiosity. They have forgiven all of those wrongdoings, and they don't talk about people as monsters, and they also know how much it takes for people who are living hell in their body to get out of that, climb out. And so at our time now, finally, we have also enough of people walking the streets with this knowledge and with the level of intelligent, sentient beingness that I'm talking to you about. So when you meet anyone, doesn't matter who it is, you're not judging them. Okay, so you don't do I'm a healer, and with that being said, independently from how far they will get or not, they will understand how both injustice, betrayal, humiliation, abandonment, and rejection don't define them. They will understand how core wounds are not wounds anymore because they have the strength with the community that they have built to get beyond, and that's because of nervous system sovereignty and self-wholeness. Okay. And so when trauma is a violation of a relationship, but a person is able to, in relationship, be with it, and therefore, in a moment's time, experience that which is, I believe you. I believe you. I believe in you. I hear everything that is being told to me of the story of their physical human being life. Mystics also included. Okay, so when I've had people who are in our 4D collective, I don't do let me judge your mystic experience. Twin flame, when I had the first one, finally someone admitted they thought I was crazy, but that was only once they got their one twin flame. Now I have 3, and someone's like, well, you've had more practice, I suffered mine. And I'm like, okay, whatever, that's bullshit, because I know of limerence, I know of dysregulation, I know of mindful therapists who are helping anybody who can get their selves on track versus people who hide behind, people who dress themselves up with stories. So when I meet spiritual bypassers, I don't judge them, but I know who they are. And I don't say anything of go get yourself anywhere, because those are codependent martyrs, blamers, superiors, and I don't have a savior complex. So when you're a healthy self-worth person with emotional maturity and mental clarity and the understanding of what you've learned from every single one of attachment trauma educational courses, and you do personal growth, spiritual growth yourself, and then the practices I offer you in the guides, here's what happens in one moment of a most amazing, and you know what I want to say, soul, life force, spirit, God. You know, when you hear the definition of prophecy, it's speaking, where is it? Let's see if I can, something about speaking the heart and mind of God, which I know some people are like, oh, it's like, okay, seriously, everyone who has a relationship with God, actually, if you're curious, I'm the co-author of a book called The Ways to God. It's 9 of us. We all have different journeys. And so when you understand that God encourages, comforts, strengthens, and supports his children, you're not going to think of the stories of monsters unless, again, you're dressing people up. And so what I've noticed is people dress up as monsters, evils, demons, and use Lucifer's name in all of the scripture with what they don't like. And it's so obvious, it's not even funny. But putting all of that to the side so I can share with you the story, because I can't find the quote anyways. When you are able to look someone as they're telling you what's gone down, and they're telling you the truth, and you understand what it means for your own society to not welcome you, right? Okay, so those core wounds, we all are humans, we are all relational beings. We need each other physically to survive. But luckily today in our era, our basic needs are being met, and so we're going to do our best to get our planet back on track. Of course, we've done wrongs. We always have, because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is ignorance. Those who read between the lines and add their conspiracy and other stories, that's the whole distorting thing. Their narratives, they're epistemically lazy. They will actively use fake stories to add up other things. And I'm like, that's not data. Data's data. Stories are stories. So that we can try to use, sure, but that you come at me as if you know for a fact, when I know the difference between not only quantitative analysis but also qualitative analysis, when I know the difference between that which is researchers coming together and respecting each other and talking. Okay, so anyways, to conclude, looking someone in the eyes who's not a monster, who actively is completely empowered at the very best that they can, member of society, supported their entire community, small community, leads their family well, has made mistakes like anybody else can. This is someone you tip your hat to. And as a mystic spiritual one, as they're talking to you about demon, monster, knowing it's not demon, monster, but knowing that others look at that and they judge that, the spiritual bypassing community. See what I'm saying? So that's why when people play small, I can't say, let me support. No, I'm here to say, here's the truth. There's intelligent, sentient beings. They're called humans. They live restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lives. They don't put people on pedestals or in the shithole. And when we do have twin flames, of course, the one thing I can tell you is it hits you like a back whammy because of the way they tell you a twin flame is. So if there's one thing I would have wanted when I was going through all of the spiritual ascension, awakening, and you're always awakened, but the twin flame stuff is this. You're a human and I'm a human. If you know how to be a human, then you're going to know how to maintain relational integrity, because you're going to know composure. You're going to know composure because you're going to know your prefrontal cortex. You're going to know what self-respect and respect for other is. You're also going to know of what petty bullshit. Don't judge a book by its cover. And when you grow up to become 46 and you still see people judging a book by its cover, playing petty fools, now as a mystic I can tell you of the societal soul age group and how they're not moved into the enlightenment soul age group. I can also tell you about their choice points, as I've seen more than just one person make the very shitty choice point of repeating their karma, their personality patterns. They're not moving into dharma, but let me use better words. Limerence, dissociation, dysregulation, childhood trauma. Okay, so when you see people who use the fancy words, but they're living it out on a wheelhouse, they're not doing personal growth and spiritual growth. And when they're validating each other's stories, as they will channel and download like I will, but they will continue to act as if we need some cataclysmic force. It's, again, hey, Peter Pan, Lost Boys and Wendy, having fun on Never Neverland, because you're not really respecting our ancestors at this point. Because, see, I don't actually think of our ancestors as weak. When I remember being raised with the angels and the saints and the prophets and all that. I know exactly, and all the spiritual history stories, they all did the one thing that we're always and still are the ones who understand this. You allow yourself to remember we're all made of the same cloth and we all have the same capacity. However, humanly speaking, our embodied brains are different. No two nervous systems are alike. And not to mention, no two nervous systems will want to achieve their ventral vagal state pivoting practice. Okay, so if someone doesn't want to learn their window tolerance because they don't believe that they need to get their brain embodied and integrated, if you will, meaning they don't believe in the embodied brain stuff, you're not going to make them into a believer. And if there's one thing shame always does, is objectify and dehumanize and distance. And the adaptive child part little circle goes on and on and on, and the little merry-go-round is on a wheelhouse, which is why they're on Pinocchio's island. And humanly speaking, that's not funny. So when someone thinks of evil, they think of a lot of things. I think of the ones who are charming and grandiose, because they're the leaders of the pack. The first 9 out of Michael Stone's Forensic Criminology scale are basically helpless human beings who got the short end of the stick. It's these ones who are creating a problem. No, it's these ones who continue to create that which doesn't work because they actively aren't interested in our basic needs, because if they were, then they'd all be working on the environment right now. That's how clear it is. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I'm not a genius, and a genius is somebody who understands what we physically need and can look at today mindfully without being overwhelmed with their nervous system and not freak out. And that's where it's Chicken Little, sky ain't falling. So at the end of the day, when you meet the intelligent sentient beings, they're people who are grounded in reality. And when someone is the best they can be and you can see they're doing great, you'll spot their soul, their life force, and together you'll be like, ah. And when you say you're not your monster, you are not your monster. Like, I'm not my fear. Whatever it is that, you know, sometimes will have you confining, right? Everybody has a different story, but looking someone in the eye saying you're not your monster, you're more than that. You realize this, right? Because see, this small strength, once you've overcome it, which is what this person, as they're looking at me, they know this. They're crying, I'm crying, I'm like, I'm doing some, you know, Reiki on the heart, and we're having this beautiful moment. And the part that is beautiful is they know this, so they do healthy things to go and get that life force while being surrounded by petty people. And that life force is there for them to be used. So as long as they're doing the healthy stuff, you know. But when you're around small-minded people who are not playing life with their embodied expanded, it's anyways, it's something I understood. So like, I understand what you're saying. You're rightly or surrounded in specific ways, but you'll get go do your thing, whatever it is that expands your life force and has you feeling, you know, but also being called names by people. So being able to have a moment with anyone who will see you. So again, I believe you. That's what every person wants. And that's because getting validated feels good, but being believed in and being believed as a person who does good and who is doing good is also amazing. And being welcomed and accepted and knowing we all make mistakes and forgiving, that's good. So when someone gets rigid and harsh and judgmental, they forget we're all human, we all make mistakes. As for systems, yes, they break because they're made bad. If they're made good, they don't break. And those who don't think we can make systems that last the test of time don't know who are the ones who actually continue to move forward with the lovely human beings. And that is those who can see the bigger picture, understand what sustainability means. So again, our basic needs need to be met. We all understand the window tolerance today. And so fulfillment comes from nervous system sovereignty. It's an embodied brain. All the other stuff that we had led with until we all found out about attachment trauma is secondary, because the number one thing is you need to be able to wield that which is the intensity, sensitivity, or temperament. You see your personality patterns. To wield personality patterns and temperament, you need to first be yourself. And that's where the 0 to 8-year-old becomes yours. You're your prefrontal cortex and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so our lovely future humans are here. No one's a monster. And being able to welcome someone and have them feel seen and soothed and safe and secure, and to say you are worthy. You've done great for your entire community. That you may have people around you that don't get that. Well, that's sad for them. But hey, you keep a rocking and a rolling, And I'll see you again soon, and we'll have another life force lovely conversation. Oh, and FYI, when I first came to know of 3D, 4D, 5D, all this stuff, I already knew, because it was told that 3D, 4D wouldn't be joining us. I didn't believe it until I saw it. And do you know why? Because you're never going to say that someone can't achieve their maximum potential. Spiritual masters, gurus, expert yogis, good mindful therapists will inform you. No one's going to say you're done. You ain't done. It ain't done till it's over, meaning as long as you live, your life force will be there. Your soul will be there. Let me out, let me out. And hey, if Pinocchio had to hit rock bottom, some people might have to, but we always hope that they don't. Because seriously, self-regulation, it's so fun. So personal growth, spiritual growth, check out PayHip as the ascension energies come about. We're going to be having more episodes related to this topic and to others. In the meantime, have a good one.